Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Mustard Seed. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ryan. Join us on our journey.
It's Wednesday morning. You know what that means.
Where did that come from? Did you just think that would have sounded like a nice little intro?
Actually, it came from wrestling. This guy would always announce it's Wednesday night. You know what that means.
Oh, that would.
And I liked how that sounded.
So adopted it for your own.
Adopted it.
I like it. So it's your little tagline now. It went from "Hey, what's going on, guys?" to now it's Wednesday morning.
It's Wednesday morning.
We could make merch off of that.
Yeah.
Some T-shirts.
Yeah.
We're back at it another week.
Yep.
How was Duck Wonderland?
Duck Wonderland, as Logan calls it, was fun. It was a nice experience. He enjoyed every part of the park.
Nice.
Running around, no lines. So
yeah?
that was like great. And we all kind of just split going on rides except for Jess. And we saw some shows and it was nice. Except for the one show he didn't like. He just stood there with the dead face like
I saw that video. That was so funny.
And they're singing their hearts out and he's just like,
and there's like a whole group of people in the front dancing, and he's just sitting there stone cold. He looked so tired. He's just like, I'm not.
He
having
left.
This.
He's like, that no good.
Really?
After we walked away, he told us.
Oh, that's so funny. I thought he was just like, I'm tired. He was like, this stinks.
the lady's wig was like showing her real hair. So
he called it.
It was
out.
just like a little cute thing under a tent where they're trying to get kids to like.
Yeah.
But he was
not having it.
He wants excellence.
Exactly. He expects nothing less than excellence. They reminded me of the little shows. Reminded me of like the Country Bears show at Disney.
Yeah, that I just sent you that bear one, right?
Yeah,
video of the bear.
It kind of looked like the
Country
Country
Bears. And he was
Bears.
dancing to it.
Like yeah, exactly, like that. I loved how he was wearing his hat backwards the whole week.
Oh, he has to wear it backwards and to the side.
Yeah, to the side.
And no shoes. That's Logan.
That's Logan. That's great. It looked like he had so much fun. It had to be exhausting too. Talk about exhausting. That's like
it was like a
7
hour ride home.
Yes, that's
which
crazy.
is a 4 hour. It's supposed to be like a 3.5 hour ride, and the ride home was like ridiculous.
What time did you guys leave?
We left at like 3, I want to say.
Okay, so you were getting into New York.
Oh no, we left maybe 1.
Okay, yeah, but either way, you're probably getting into New York, but like at that rush hour time.
Long Island, getting onto Long Island.
Yeah, it's crazy. You always have to time that. With Woodlock, we always think about that. At least I do, because I'm like, I never want to have to sit in that traffic. It makes the ride 2 times longer just from sitting in the traffic. It's the worst.
Either Woodlock, you got to leave. You have to leave early morning, or you leave nighttime around like 8, 7.
Yes,
and then you're
golden. Oh man, exactly. It can be such an easy ride. Anything that you leave Long Island for, it can be an absolute pain if you don't time it right. Think about it. I mean, we literally live on an island. What would happen if a natural disaster occurred and we all had to evacuate the island? Like, what would happen? The amount of traffic
gotta make friends with someone with a boat.
You just skedaddle out that way. I know. I've heard so many conversations about bridges being made from Long Island to Connecticut. That would be interesting. Imagine that. I don't know how long that is, if they could actually make that possible.
I'm sure they could.
But if we had some sort of evacuation type of thing, that would just be craziness.
Yeah.
Everyone trying to get out.
Go down with the island.
Yeah, just we're going down with the ship.
With the way people drive, like it would never be good.
No.
And they kind of had not a natural disaster. Like apparently a tornado went through Ronkonkoma.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were telling me about that. That's nuts. I didn't even know.
Right by Lake Ronkonkoma.
Yeah, because we were playing volleyball on Thursday night, and so we're on Cedar Beach, and that's like its own ecosystem. Like it was cloudy, but no rain at all. But you could see in the distance thunder and lightning. So that must have been the tornado.
Yeah.
It was over you guys? Really?
Yeah, I saw the pictures of hail. It was like as big as my hand.
Wow. And that's so random, right? Because I didn't see anything where it was like, hey, wow.
We were driving at that time and we saw like the dark clouds like going towards
Long Island. You're
like
here
it was
goes.
just moving.
Wow. Is that the first time ever that a tornado has touched down on Long Island?
No,
I mean,
actually, a couple months ago, one hit down in Shirley and took out the Chipotle sign.
really?
Yeah.
So what happened to this? Was there a lot of damage? I mean,
A tree fell down on 7-Eleven,
okay.
and actually, a sewer burst into flames somehow.
Oh, okay.
It's like Christmas with the whatever the vacation. You ever see that Christmas vacation?
Yeah, Christmas Vacation and the
where he dumps
plugs it.
Yeah, and then it lights up.
Whenever I think of tornadoes, I just think of Dorothy and something taking away the house.
Jessica is petrified of tornadoes because probably at a young age they showed her Twister, and I don't know if you ever seen Twister.
I've never seen it, but I know
it's a great movie. I would see it. But so she saw it. I think she was like 5 maybe, and she was petrified, and she threw all her toys in the basement and took the cold cuts and went downstairs.
Priorities. Give me the cold cuts.
She was always scared of weather. She still is kind of.
I mean, that is scary as a child when there's thunder and stuff outside. Like, I remember that being younger and like coming downstairs with everyone, like all my little siblings, and making sure we're safe.
I don't have a basement now, so I guess I gotta go. They say go in the bathtub.
Really? That's your solution? If you have nowhere to go, it's the bathtub.
Yeah, I guess because less things can fall on you in there.
In the bathtub.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, good to know. I'll take it. I'll remember that next time. Actually, last year there was a tornado warning. I remember it was like late at night because I remember Ronnie and I were in the apartment, and like, you know how your phones go off now when they have like different weather, and it was that loud, like the whole thing, and they said tornado warning through Kings Park. And we put on the news and we are just sitting there like, there's a tornado coming. Like, what are we supposed to
do?
Do we do? Like, we're on the second floor, like in the apartment. It's like, well, there's nowhere for us to go.
All right. So you got to watch Twister and then you'll know everything to do. You need a nice strong belt and a pipe that goes deep down and you tie yourself to that.
Okay.
And then you can go right through the tornado and not get sucked in.
That's the plan. Okay. Twister is giving us the blueprints on how to survive.
Yeah. I actually, that is a sleeper movie of like how good it is. So in my opinion,
Twister.
Yeah.
Is this an old movie? Like
90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've never seen Twister. It's one of those. I feel like I'm very sheltered. Not sheltered, maybe that's the word, but I haven't watched a lot of movies. Like, I feel like so many conversations, people mention a movie, I'm like, oh, I've never seen it. Like, you've never seen it?
I've seen.
You've seen everything.
I've thousands of DVDs.
You basically have a wall that is all DVDs.
Yep.
What's your all-time?
Which we don't even watch, and because everything's streaming now. So it's
of course. So you don't even. But it's one day that would be worth a lot of money. You never know. What's a all-time favorite movie if you had to pick?
I love the Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites. We watch the extended editions. Well, we haven't in a while because that used to be our tradition. Every New Year's Day, we would watch all 3 extended.
Wow.
All day.
I didn't know you were that into Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Jess loves it. She could quote it.
Oh, really? She's all into it. Did you ever read the books?
No, actually, I did not. I read The Hobbit though.
You did read The Hobbit.
I did not read the Lord of the Rings series.
No. What's the your view on The Hobbit, the movie that came out? Did you see that one?
Yeah, that was good.
That wasn't that great.
Yeah, it wasn't that great, but it was still good. It kind of brought back all the feels for the regular series of Lord of the Rings, and you got to see old characters that weren't there for a while.
Okay.
And it was just too long. They, it's a little book and they made it 3-4 movies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So it became a long one. I've never watched Lord of the Rings. I guess I'm really out of the norm here.
No, you watched one, right? Oh, you left before it played when you came.
Yes, in the movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean when you came.
Here. That's right. Josh. That's right. Yeah. Yes, that's true. We never. We did not last. Elliot was like, I gotta go to bed. Yeah, that did not work. Yeah, we still haven't watched Lord of the Rings. I know one day we'll be able to sit through. Maybe in New Year's we'll get a.
I got him, so.
Yeah, it's great. Lord of the Rings is huge. I feel like That's like one of those things that people are just like
Oh,
so
I wish I
into.
could go to New Zealand and go to the Hobbiton.
Check it
That's
all
the
out.
they got like it's beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
They got the Hobbit holes and everything, and like the they got the Green Dragon, which is the bar that they
Wow.
stop at. So
That's pretty
it's
cool.
great.
Are there like religious themes within Lord of the Rings, or no? Is this just one of those like not really? Okay. 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 Sure. Okay. Of course. Because I was always curious with that because I knew that he was Catholic and like I thought that was really neat. But I
Yeah, if you think about it too, the Fellowship, you can say disciples.
Sure.
Get
Yeah.
rid of the ring,
Okay.
take down the evil.
Yeah, I still have no like hearing you say all of that. I have no idea what that means. That's so bad. I feel like that's one of those things. Is like maybe at this point in my life, I should be like, this is my quest to never watch Lord of the Rings and just
Oh,
go the
no.
complete opposite direction.
Do you know that
Nope.
Jurassic Park has dinosaurs?
Yes, I know
Okay.
that. I still never seen Jurassic Park either. So
Oh
there
my
you
gosh.
go. I'm telling you, I haven't watched movies. I've seen Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. Talk about someone that like people I love Lord of the Rings. Like I love Harry Potter. I mean, we saw all those movies
Yeah,
together.
I love
Obviously,
it
read
too.
all those books. The books are the best. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
my,
how I proposed to Jess.
yes.
I carved I bought it wasn't my book. I bought the fourth book, her favorite book, from the thrift store.
which is probably the
Yeah.
best one because you
Yeah.
got one of the
And
more
I carved a square in it and I put the ring in the book.
That's such a cool idea. I love how you did that. It was very personal.
It took forever, and I remember getting horrible carpal tunnel.
Trying to cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thick book.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. That's such a neat idea. Yeah, if unfortunately Ronnie doesn't read, so I never really had any book options to pick to propose off of. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, I'll have to give it a shot. I think maybe one day we can do like a reaction to it after I finally watch the movies.
Yeah.
That'd be a great little series. You plug it in. There you go.
I saw this interesting thing.
Oh yeah.
It was what is the best dynamic duo in basketball?
All right, here we go. We're changing. We're going from movies to sports.
Yeah.
Hot topics. So the dynamic duo.
So yeah, they had on the list. They had Shaq and Kobe,
Okay.
Jordan, Pippen. They had Nash, Stoudemire. I don't know why they. I guess they were good together.
Yeah, in Phoenix or Nash and Nowitzki.
Yeah, but
But
they
didn't
weren't
play
together. They weren't, I guess, together that long. Then they had Durant and you would think Westbrook, but it was Durant and Steph
Okay.
Curry. They had them.
Not Steph and Clay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
But no, they had those two. And Shaq and Kobe. I don't know if I said that. They had Larry Bird, and I didn't know the other guy.
I'm not too familiar with who Larry Bird's number 2 was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm huge Michael Jordan. I'd always say Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. I don't think there's a better 1-2 punch ever to ever play any sport.
I don't know. I think if they played each other, and I think Shaq and Kobe could take on Jordan. And
I mean, that's
unpopular opinion probably, but I think Kobe's good at defense.
Yes. If there's anyone who would give them a shot, I think that would be a huge.
Yeah.
Because not only like is Kobe close to be,
and in this era, whatever, they're like, they're not like LeBron where they're gonna flop. They're tough.
They're tough. Hey, LeBron is tough too.
Yeah, it was LeBron and Wade.
Oh, okay, LeBron and Wade.
Yeah, but
well,
I see Jordan destroying them.
Yes, I think Jordan destroys anyone who ever walks in.
Oh, and Parker Duncan.
I was gonna ask you if they were on there because that's a very big time.
Yeah, that's they would give Kobe and Shaq a run for their money, but I think
you think Kobe and Shaq are the guys.
I think that if you put all those teams in a tournament, I think they win.
Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah,
I do think Kobe and Shaq are probably one of the harder teams to beat because if you put Michael Jordan is the best, and everyone is Michael Jordan and everyone else, right?
Think about it. Shaq and Kobe like worked together, like they were good together. Scotty and Michael, they didn't. You saw the documentary.
What?
They fought a lot.
No, not
he
really.
sat out. Scottie Pippen was a baby.
That was late. That was late after Jordan. I mean, it was towards like the back end there. No, I don't know. I don't think there was as much turmoil as like the documentary really like. Obviously, they had to make some sort of.
I don't even think they talk anymore.
I don't know what their relationship is now. I mean, come on, they were that whole offense, the way they flowed. See, that's another thing too, right? You look at that whole team, and there was a difference of just kind of like it was team basketball, but Scottie Pippen and Jordan were obviously the best on the floor for them. I don't know. It's just that 1-2 punch of Scottie Pippen and Jordan that it's hard to. But Shaq and Kobe, from a matchup standpoint, yes, I think they probably give them the hardest time because you got Kobe, who is so close to Jordan, and then you got a guy like Shaq, who I don't think really in his prime, like who can guard Shaq? Yeah. That guy, like just how big he is, the size and stuff that he is. But I don't know.
You can check out Beyond the Field on the Kobe Bryant. That was
we did a Kobe Bryant episode. So
he's a devout. Was a devout Catholic.
Yes. Kobe Bryant's story is one that is very like I really related to him a lot more because when he was a player, I did not like Kobe Bryant at all. I used to like we would always joke about that whenever someone like wouldn't pass when we would play basketball. We'd be like, "You're Kobe Bryant. You're so selfish. Like no one would pass the ball." But and then after the fact, like towards the end of his career, I started to. I want to know
who started the Kobe. You know, like when you shoot Kobe, who started that? Where did that come from? Because everyone does that.
Everyone does that. I mean, that's probably that's why his name will be known forever, despite his basketball career.
Hey, the man won an Oscar too. Just go bringing it back to movies.
So that's what's so cool about Kobe Bryant's life. Like after his basketball career, that's when I started to get really into like what he was about, and he had this whole like media thing that he was like starting and really like taking off. It was really interesting. And to hear and learn about his story and that he, really like leaned on his Catholic faith to get him through some like difficult, tough times, right? Like he made some decisions that he had to like deal with and that it was his faith that ultimately got him through that. I think that's so cool. That Beyond the Field episode, that was a neat episode to like get deep into just who he is as a person because honestly, when we were trying to like Kobe Bryant was one of those inspiration pieces for me to try and get something like this going because of his faith and also the idea of what he saw with the media world and how that's something that's so popular that people can relate to now. So yeah, Kobe Bryant is so if anyone can give Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen a run for their money,
it would have been
Kobe and Shaq. Yeah. Steph and see, like it's funny because you can say 1-2 like just from a pure like NBA standpoint, and you got like Steph and Clay that I would say would get close to that conversation. But if you're saying 2-on-2, like yes, Kobe Bryant and Shaq are matchup. Just how do you beat that?
Yeah.
So it all depends on how you look at it. Sports. We can talk about sports for hours.
Yeah, we probably could.
So what do we got today? We didn't even tease our episode yet, but before we do, we got some music to talk about, right? This week, the trend.
Yeah, we actually talked to James. That is our trend. Seems that we talk to James and find out some songs and listen because he has a whole. I mean, you have it too. That how do you say it? Exodus list. Which he built up over the years.
Yeah, when we did Exodus, we both like created our own playlists just because one of the pieces of Exodus was basically only listen to music that was uplifting to the soul. So we made it a point to build up our music and don't let James fool you. His music came from me. I fueled him over there, but no, James gave you some good suggestions.
Yeah, what was it? 7. It was the
7 Places.
7 Places.
Yeah, that was a blast from the past. 7 Places was a band that like we started listening to early on. We were trying to remember like where it started. I believe it was one of those Easter basket gifts that like my mom put a CD in, and I believe it was my Easter basket. 7 Places. Go check them out. They were I still don't know how to describe them, but it was basically like a classic like late 90s, early 2000s. It was like early 2000s. Just like friend group band, and it was obviously religious and they're Christian music, and they just had some good music that was like easy for us to listen to as we were younger, and it was trendy and cool at the time. So yeah, 7 Places. That's a great band to bring back into the rotation. I might do that again. I actually came back to an older, if you will, I wouldn't even call them older because they're still with it. I went back to Reliant K this week. I love Reliant K. Talking about like bands that we grew up with and music that we used to listen to. Reliant K was my favorite band of all time. Just always, they were always in my playlists. But Getting Into You is probably one of my all-time favorite songs, and that's a Reliant K song. So I I was listening to that a lot this week. That was one of those just like, if you look at like my Spotify on repeats from like the beginning of time, Getting Into You is always on the top of that list. Yeah, I love that song. It's
There's
just
this one song that I like, but I can't remember the name. It's like Daddy something is the name of the band.
Daddy Yankee?
No, not Daddy Yankee. It's Redeemed.
Okay.
I Am Redeemed. It's a great song.
All right. Nice.
I'll look up who.
We're gonna have to figure out how we can create like a playlist that we can share. Maybe we can just start our own playlist on Spotify and then share it on like Instagram or Twitter and make it even like interactive or whatnot. So yeah, leave your comments. Let us know.
Oh, it's called Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
That's the name of the band.
Okay.
And they are it's a Christian album.
Yeah.
They got some good songs, but one day actually I was like it was a couple of years ago. I was like feeling down after some stuff happened with miscarriages and stuff, and one of my coworkers gave me that CD, and that song I Am Redeemed like helped me feel better.
Nice. Hey, that's the power of music, man. That's why we bring it up each week. It's so funny. We're talking about DVDs and CDs and things that just don't exist
Everything's
anymore.
all updated.
Everything's all streaming,
uploaded and
download it. Yeah, we used to go to Borders all the time. Borders,
miss Borders.
Go to the DVD section, go to the CD section. I used to love like you would like kind of push them down to look at the next one, and they were all alphabetized. Man, memories. We'll miss those days. That was like summer too, when you can get into the air-conditioned Borders and walk around and pick out a book that you're gonna read for the summer. Those are good times. Man. Miss that. All right, so now that we're old men and fathers, let's talk about our faith a little bit. So we actually had so this was your suggestion this week. This was a great, powerful story that is in 3 Gospels.
And it what sticks out to me so much. I'll get into it once you say the name and everything.
Yeah. So the story is basically, it's a girl restored to life and the woman healed. So Jairus, I really hope I said that right. We talked about it. Jairus. We said it before, and
Jairus, not Jarvis.
Is this funny?
Jarvis is Tony Stark.
Jar Jar Binks.
Not Jar Jar Binks.
Jairus, good old Jairus. So Jairus' daughter, who was dead, and Jesus.
She was near death, and then by the time Jesus got there,
so healed, and then the woman who touched Jesus's cloak, and got healed as well. So one of those, like, again, well-known stories. So
which it's funny. I wanted to bring that after he heals her, he says, "Don't tell anyone."
Yes,
and obviously we're talking about it now, so people told people. And
the story is out.
He had John in there too.
Yes,
he had the 3 disciples was John, Peter, and
James.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too, because I think that's really neat. 3 of them.
But so he gets off the boat, a big crowd, and Jesus is like greeting them, and then Jairus runs up to him like, "My daughter is dying, I need you, and come with me." And Jesus is like, "Okay." And as he's walking, this lady believed so much, she reached out and just by touching his robes was healed. And he turns around like, "Who touched me?" And that part always stuck out to me, because I remember like when the priest or whoever was reading it at the time would always like made it sound like Jesus was annoyed. They would like read it with like, "Who touched me?"
How dare you?
So it always like stuck out. I always remember that, like, just by the touch. And the cool thing is too, like, as he gets to the house, he just tells him to believe, and like that's what that lady did. She believed. And like, think about it, like the crowd showing up just to see him, like, dock the boat, come in.
Yes,
just like amazing.
Well, that's what the part of just word traveling fast, right? Because it was still the beginning of Jesus's kind
Hmm.
of ministry, and a lot of the things that he was doing. I mean, he was doing so many miracles throughout that time, and he kept saying like, "Don't tell anyone." Right?
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
was
yeah.
a lot of that. Like let's, but of course, like they're spreading the word, and the word's spreading so fast, and now that all these crowds are running to him, and now this woman who realizes like I can't be healed. She's dealing with hemorrhages, right? So internal bleeding, I believe, is
Mhm.
really like I'm not a doctor, but so dealing with these sicknesses or disease that could not be healed. Like they called that out where it was like she just nothing was working. But she had this faith and said, if I can just touch Jesus, like
Yeah, that's
that's how I know.
amazing.
Like that's
He
where
doesn't even have to like focus or know. Like that's also the power of prayer, which we were touching on with Josh was telling us
yes.
beforehand.
Yes, of course, right? So there are so many parts of this story that is there's so many layers to it. I mean, it's funny because you start with Jairus, and he's saying, "Hey, like my daughter needs help. Like, come heal my daughter."
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, there's a woman touching who needs healing, and it was just there are so many layers to it.
Yeah,
But the constant theme, like I noticed
and then
throughout,
and then also the butler or whatever comes up is like, oh, she passed. Don't bother him
she's
anymore.
dead. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not even like
he didn't even.
don't
He's like,
even waste
yeah,
my
don't
time.
waste Jesus's time.
But isn't that funny? Like that shows you the opposite. Like that theme of just faith. Like these people that were reaching out to Jesus had faith, and they said they knew like if only you could come, help me. If you were there, if I could touch
And
you,
like
like
being a father, just like how not desperate, but just like you are desperate at that point, but you're just running and you're
yeah,
believe you'll do anything to help your child.
yeah, of course. Just well, that's what it is. I mean, it hits a little different right, when you think
Yeah,
about it
yeah.
in that sense, for sure. But yeah, just the faith that these two characters in these stories had, where they were just identified that Jesus was so powerful, that he had done so many great things, that if I can just connect with him, if I can get there with him, that I could feel that moment. And it made me think a little bit. I was like trying to go into like my kind of faith journey and be like, where has there been times where it's like I needed faith, or it's like I heard of the stories of Jesus, right? Or I knew that Jesus was all healing and all powerful, that it like kind of triggered me to go after him, and like
Mhm.
sometimes that's something to like reflect on a little bit as well. And like I feel like maybe that was more of like a post college life where I realized like, my life was I was so distant from where I like felt like I should have been in my faith. But then remembering like who Jesus is and like how he is so healing, and like obviously, I felt like I was living a way that wasn't what it was supposed to, so I needed healing. And to think about like that reminder at that moment in my life to like to go to Jesus, to just touch his cloak, to be able to get that, healing presence again, and then to, have that just desire to be in Jesus, like that's
Yeah.
cool. And I think that that's something that can be like a relation for us to like remind ourselves, like,
Yeah.
when we need it, it's Jesus who can help
I
us.
definitely can relate with that. Like when we were going through trying to have the our second child, we had a bunch of miscarriages and it really like beat me down. And sometimes you just like you say things and it just feels like, you know, empty words like, "Oh, don't worry, it's God's plan." Not that it, you know what I mean by
Of
that. It's just
course, it can
like
be
God,
hard to
yeah, it's
sometimes really.
hard to just like grasp it.
Mhm.
And then when you start like really praying about it and like feeling that God is with you, then like this happened. Then we're pregnant and having another kid.
And
And right after like a bad miscarriage, which my wife is so strong to go through all that. I couldn't, and you're just there, standing there, trying to, you know, comfort them, and and you're beating yourself up inside, blaming yourself, and it's hard. And then just like reading this story of like just the touch of the cloak is just like amazing. How God is just
all
great,
powerful. Yeah.
and
And
now when we finally go to heaven, now we'll have like a bunch of kids up there. It's like you're busy here, and then you go up there, you'll have we'll have like 5 more up there. It's like
you'll start that basketball team up
yeah,
there.
the grandma's taking care of him right now.
There you go. It's neat to think about that in that way. I think that that's very uplifting. And you touched on it, man. Like it can be so difficult when you're going through like those toughest moments, the lowest of lows, but to have faith. And that's what, Jesus said it each time. And he says it to Jairus. He says it to the woman, he said, your faith has saved you. Like your faith has made you well, do not fear, only believe, it's all about this faith. And it's easy to say it sometimes. It's like, oh, don't worry, God's plan, like have faith.
And Jesus tells now I'm saying Jar Jar Binks. Jesus tells Jairus to have faith. Like once he finds out the daughter passed, he's like, no, she's just sleeping. Like, and they go to the house and everyone's crying. There's a bunch of people, and Jesus says, no, she's just sleeping. Have faith. And then everyone laughs.
They laugh,
which is crazy because like,
isn't that a funny part? Like to like see and read.
It's humbling because think about it. He comes off the boat to a group of people wanting just to touch him and just be by him, and then goes there where he's going to perform a miracle, and they laugh at him, and he doesn't even, I was surprised like Peter didn't go after them all, the way Peter was like from the stories.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But it shows you too, like if you think about where they were at in time, like, Jesus still hasn't revealed himself, so they're like, okay, who is this man? Like maybe those people didn't really know who Jesus was.
And you also, think about it. Like he kept telling people not to say anything. He knew everyone was going to say something. Cause like, remember, we've talked about it many times, where the episode in The Chosen where they're ripping apart the roof to lower the guy down to get healed.
Yes.
Like that's just like word of mouth too. Like he was just assembling his people
his
and
disciples,
his disciples, and everyone was like new to the group, and like that happened. So but
all powerful, man.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And that's what like is neat to see these people identifying and understanding, like, man, there's something that is life-giving, there's something that is healing in Jesus. And the reminders for us, like Jesus is healing, and that we need to have faith. And it's easy to say, let's have faith, God's plan. But Jesus reminds us, like, have faith. Your faith will save you.
That's one thing though. It may feel empty, like just people like, oh, you feel like you're being brushed off, like, oh, it's God's plan, like that. But it truly is, and you just have to like put yourself in His hands and just pray and fully immerse yourself into the situation, and you'll come out on top, or you'll come out a better person.
Of course. There's like to pray and to turn towards scripture here, to look at Jesus's words, because they will heal you and help you kind of feel that uplifting presence. To talk about moving stories. Josh and Claire, you guys have probably one of the most beautiful stories of just Jesus's touch and his healing story. And Talitha Kum, what a beautiful, powerful line that, Jesus comes to this 12-year-old girl who they say is dead, right? And he says, no, she's sleeping. Like, have faith. Like, he's telling him, no. Like, I'm here. Talitha Kum, girl. I want to say it correctly. I couldn't find it. Like, girl, rise, correct? So that moment connected again to something that we talked about a long time ago in one of these episodes. To think about John, James, and Peter standing there in that room, right? And how
and he kicked everyone else out.
Yes, but they're there, right? And of course, like as they're going through it, they have to be like, this girl is dead. Like, what are we doing? And just sit there, but at the same time, maybe saying, wait, like Jesus will do something, right? But to witness this, to watch him say, Talitha Kum, and this girl arises and he restores her to life.
And he says, feed her.
Yeah, he says, give her some food. But the piece that I was connecting it to is all the way at the end of the story when John and Peter walk into the empty tomb. And Father Mike Schmitz brought this up because I love when there are connections throughout different things. And it's like to kind of put ourselves in that moment and to think about like what it was like as like John and Peter to like witness something like this happen, to watch a girl rise from the dead, and then to walk into that empty tomb. And in John's gospel, the line is like that tomb was empty, and John says, like he saw and believed. Like he saw nothing, but he believed. He saw nothing and he believed. It was because it was all of these stories and all of these things that they witnessed Jesus do, that it was that moment at the end where it was belief of like Jesus is back, like Jesus is risen from the dead, like the death and resurrection of Jesus. So it's just really powerful, and for us to try our best to like think of it in different ways of saying like, man, how can I have that faith that these people had in these stories to trust Jesus, to allow him to heal and to allow him to, give life.
And we also said too, like how they witnessed that, but then sometimes they like doubted, like that he came back,
Sure.
that and they were there witnessing miracle after miracle.
Yeah.
And it just proves like the human the doubt that could take over before even,
of course. And that is human, and that's a part of our story, and it's allowing our faith to heal us, our faith in God and our faith in what Jesus can do for us. That is really powerful. So yeah, it's a full story, man. There's so many different pieces to it. So many parts too where you can kind of like sit back and chuckle a little bit, like why are they all laughing at Jesus? You could look back, and then even when the woman touches Jesus's cloak, and he's like, who touched me? And the apostles are like, come on, teacher,
we're
like
in
they're a crowd, everyone's touching you, but it's that life-giving, thing that Jesus gives to us that we're looking for and hoping for each and every day. So do not fear, only believe. So this is a great story. I kind of, when you said Jairus, I was like, wait, what story is Jairus? But yeah, it's a good one. It's a great connection to so many different things that we can just relate to in life. And so, any closing thoughts, any words to kind of finish up here? This is in 3 different gospels too, which is pretty cool. It was neat to read all 3 of them again and just see like who goes into it more and who kind of just touches on it in different ways, So yeah, it's really great.
You got a birthday coming up, right?
I do have a birthday coming up.
Getting closer and closer to 30.
I know. That's crazy. But on the north side, yeah. It is crazy to think how close you are to 30 now. Well, here we are, another birthday, another year. So I believe actually we need to like just kind of a couple announcements, right? Because we're gonna take a little break from just these posts, because we've got some vacations and some things coming up, just life. So we'll have
1 week off, right?
Yeah, I believe one. We'll kind of play it by each week, but we'll have some
music is coming out, and sure, we'll post some shorts, and you can rewatch some of our old stuff, whatever you know.
Yeah,
if you miss us that much.
We'll make sure we get something out there each Wednesday. Because we're gonna hear someone. We're gonna have to record you say it's Wednesday morning just to have it plug into all of our.
It's Wednesday morning. Watch some Mustard Seed.
That's it. There we go. So, any shout outs for you this week?
Just shout out to all mothers, and I did this last week. Parents.
Yeah, right.
Just like it brings it to it of like how worried he was for his daughter. Where was the mother? I guess staying with the
maybe staying with the daughter.
Yeah,
I would hope.
But just that love you have for your children is a little bit of what Jesus has for us. He has so much more love for all of us.
Of course. I'm going to give a shout out to Mary, our mother. We touched on her last week a little bit. She's been on my heart recently.
Actually, yeah, me too.
Been trying to, I've actually been really diving into the rosary lately. It was something that, it was funny how it happened over time. Like, because Mary I felt like her calling a little bit, and I was praying to her more and more. And especially since Elliot's birth, just because of watching Ronnie be a mother and just reminding me of just the mother's love. And Mary was always there was always a connection there going to Chaminade, and I started to just kind of slowly work my way back into just that relationship. And then really recently, Actually, shout out the Catholic Stuff podcast because they did an episode on the rosary, and it just reminded me of the power of the rosary because we see it pop up more and more, like kind of like a little call from the church of like pray the rosary, pray the rosary. But to really like remember and be reminded of, you know, what the rosary is and why we pray the rosary. Yeah, check it out. We'll shout out the Catholic Stuff podcast. I forget the name of it, but it was just a recent episode talking about, you know, the root of the rosary and, you know, how it can be powerful. And I've went back into it, and it can be so awesome how it really like guides your prayer because you're going through just Jesus's life through Mary's eyes. And that's such a great thing, like to Jesus through Mary. So shout out Mary, our mother.
Yeah.
And
before we close, last week we did the Good Samaritan,
Yes.
and I was tested twice, right? So not that I would steal any of this stuff, but it's just funny how, so we go and we check out at Walmart, and I get back and I'm like looking at the receipt because like something didn't feel right. I was like, well, something's missing, and they didn't scan the diapers. And at first you're like, ooh, jackpot,
especially diapers.
Yeah. But I was like, I got to do the right thing. Went in and we paid for it. And then I went to take money out of the ATM, and someone left their card in, and their account was up.
What?
Yeah, it's like you could have just like hit fast cash. Thank God I came, exited it out, and I walked to the front. The bank was closed, and I just slid it through the door.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I felt like after, it was literally like right after we did the episode that I was tested like that, like with the Good Samaritan.
Little reminders. That's right. We're given each moment. That's funny. We're tested every day. We don't even realize it. How do you respond?
Yeah.
So that's great. Hey, man, it's cool we're diving into all these things to help us kind of make those little choices throughout our weeks. Yeah. So good stuff. Well, all right. Appreciate you listening. Yeah. Looking forward to the next time we'll be out here recording. Give it a like, share, post it in the comments. Tell us some songs you like.
Yep. Subscribe too. Please hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
All the links are down below. Spotify, subscribe.
Yeah, we got Locals, Patreon. We're on Rumble as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace. Peace. Peace.